They say that laughter is the best medicine, but did you ever notice how hard it is to make someone laugh? It's really not easy. So when something makes me laugh, I always tell people I have discovered gold. And there are only a few things that still make me laugh today, but it happens almost every day. I'm going to share with you why. I am 87 years old, and most people my age don't have much to laugh about. We've seen a lot of bad times, and we know that life isn't all funny games. But here's the thing. If you want to stay young, you need to laugh often. Doesn't mean you ignore the seriousness of life, but you can't let the bad stuff take away your ability to laugh. The first thing that still makes me laugh every day is my wife. Now, she doesn't think she's very funny, but she is. She's a bit of a klutz, and she has this terrible sense of timing. Like the other day, she was trying to put on her new orthopedic shoes, these big clunky shoes, and she kept trying to put them on the wrong feet. And she's got such a straight face when she's concentrating that I just lost it. It took everything I could do not to burst out laughing, but I managed to hold it together until she put the right shoe on the right foot. Then I just couldn't contain myself. I started laughing, and she looked at me and said, "What's so funny?" I told her, "You were trying to put your shoes on the wrong feet." And then she started laughing too. See, she doesn't think she's funny, but she is. And she laughs at herself, which makes her even funnier. One of the reasons my wife is so great is because she doesn't take herself too seriously. The second thing that still makes me laugh every day is my grandkids. They're always getting into some kind of mischief. Just last week, my grandson called me up, and he was bragging about something he had done. He said, "Grandpa, guess what I did today?" I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I poured water on my little sister while she was sleeping." And I could hear my daughter-in-law in the background saying, "Get away from the phone, Jacob." And then he yelled, "No, no, no. Don't hang up, Grandpa. Don't hang up." And then I heard my son's voice in the background. He said, "Jacob, give me the phone, man. You're in trouble." And then Jacob started yelling, "No, no, no. Don't hang up." And I could hear my daughter-in-law again. She said, "Give your brother an apology, Jacob." And then he said, "I'm sorry I poured water on your head, but you deserved it." I told him he was incorrigible. Then he started laughing, and he said, "You're just like me when I was a kid, Dad." And his dad said, "That's not true." But I could tell he was smiling because he sounded funny. One of the reasons my grandkids are so funny is because they do worry about what other people think of them. And that reminds me of the third thing that still makes me laugh every day. One of my favorite things to do is go out in public and just people watch. People are so serious all the time. They take themselves way too seriously. And sometimes they do the silliest things without even realizing it. One time I was at the mall, and I saw this guy walk by. He had to be in his mid-30s. And he was wearing one of those little kiddie backpacks that has a little handle on top so you can carry it like a briefcase. Well, this guy is walking down the mall with his backpack on his back, and he's holding the handle on top. And he's in a big hurry, like he's late for work or something. And I'm watching him, and he walks right into a pole like he didn't see it. He walked right into it, and he stumbled. And then he quickly recovered and started walking again, pretending like nothing happened. And then I saw another guy, maybe a little older than this guy, and he was wearing one of those baseball caps that a lot of guys wear, the ones that cover up their bald spot. Well, this guy was wearing his hat backwards. I thought, hey, if it's backwards, it's probably covering up his bald spot. Well, I'm watching this guy, and he looks down at his feet, and he's tying his shoes. And while he's down there tying his shoes, the wind blows his hat off, and it lands on the ground facing forward. And this guy looks down and sees his hat on the ground, and he immediately starts running after it. And as he's running after his hat, his bald spot is exposed. And everyone around him is staring at him, and he doesn't realize it. And then he looks up and sees all these people looking at him, and he starts to panic. And he tries to grab his hat and pull it back over his bald spot. But it's too late. Everyone has already seen it. One of the reasons strangers are so funny to me is because I never know what they are going to do next. And that reminds me of the fourth thing that still makes me laugh every day. I love watching sports. Baseball is my favorite sport, but I also love football. I'm old enough to remember when professional football players didn't wear helmets. And when they tackled each other, they would literally knock each other's teeth out. But today's game is a lot different. Those helmets have all kinds of air padding inside of them, and they redesign to protect the player's brain from injury. But sometimes the padding fails. One time I was watching a football game on TV, and there was a big pileup near the goal line, and these two players were fighting to get control of the ball. And they were both on the ground, and they were both holding onto the ball, and they were fighting over it. And suddenly one of the players lunged forward, and he tried to get control of the ball. But as he lunged forward, his helmet came off, and it landed right next to the other player. Now these two players had been fighting over the ball. But as soon as one of them saw his helmet sitting right next to him, he grabbed that helmet and put it on his head. Now, I don't know if it was planned or not, but the way this guy grabbed that helmet and put it on his head was so natural, it looked like he was grabbing his own helmet. And then the two players started fighting over who owned that helmet. Now, it turned out that that helmet belonged to the player who took it off. But the way it looked on TV, it was the funniest thing I had ever seen. One of the reasons I love watching sports is because athletes do the most unexpected things sometimes. But nothing beats the fifth thing that still makes me laugh every day. Nothing beats watching television. Oh man, I love watching TV. I'll tell you what's on TV tonight, but don't touch the remote, because I have handpicked the perfect program for us to watch together. That's right, did you forget? This is our show now. We're together every day, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you for being here. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm telling you folks, you don't want to miss my next video. It's going to be a good one.